If you hear the dog panting, there's nothing I can do about this. My dog is like freaking out because she heard a bug zapper, and I don't know what to do. Like, she won't calm down, and she won't drink water. So I apologize if you hear her in this video because she's sitting on me right now. She's a pit, by the way. But I wanted to take this time out of my day to acknowledge something that's been going on Twitter that I think is kind of it's kind of slimy. You know what I mean? So the thing is, I don't want my content to revolve around controversy all the time. I don't want my content to be revolving around these people who are just like, I don't know, just disgusting in nature. People who are racist, they're bigoted, they hate people. Like, I don't want to make my content about this all the time, and I feel like the last video I did on this did pretty well, but that's not why I'm making this video. It's just simply close to what I've experienced within the past week or so, because I've been playing Baldurs Gate 3. This is my intro to a D&D game, so I'm a huge noob, but I did a little bit of research on them, on a couple of things, and I just want to talk about a post. So this post is no longer visible. It got thousands of likes, by the way. Like, the likes that you see here aren't as many likes as it had. It was like in the double digits. It was like 14K, I think it was. I don't know anything about this person, Lies, I think is the name, Daunt Lies or whatever. But in their post, this is what they say. Says, the racism in Baldur's Gate is genuinely so fucking hard on me. Playing as a tiefling as a black person is brutal. Your party members antagonize you, the game antagonizes you, the plot positions you as the bad guy if you don't help the druids, calling you slurs. Okay. And next it says, like, if I don't help the druid who is going to execute a child of my race for being of my race, I lose access to Karlach. I save the druids from the... I'm sorry, what? I save the druids and they insinuate I'm a disease. If I fail druid quest, a massacre of my people is on my hands. What the fuck? I come home from a long day of microaggressions and masking, and my guard is immediately back up. I should be stressed that... What? I shouldn't be stressed that I'm making bad decisions, not because Lae'zel keeps threatening to kill me in my sleep for having horns. And for white players to think this is... And for our white players, this is just fantasy. So there's a couple of things I want to say about this post myself, and we'll get to a couple of reactions, right? Just a couple, not very many. So I think that you shouldn't have to have your guard up on a video game personally. You know, it's just something that just simply can't hurt you. You know, especially if it's not meant to specifically call you out. Like, if there's a video game that's just like going, you're an N-word, or, you know, they keep making fun of a certain race like repeatedly and they're like really driving it home, maybe I feel like I would be a little bit more sympathetic, right? But I do understand what they mean in the first two posts. The last post, like, I do understand the microaggressions part, but I don't think you should have your guard back up. Like, just play the game and enjoy it as much as you possibly can, because that's just the way the game is. If you don't like the outcome, you can definitely save and quick save. Like, I got Karlach and the druids didn't mess with me. You know, and fuck the druids, quite frankly. They were assholes except for Housen. But anyway, let's go forward here. Let's go backwards, actually. The racism is hard on this person because they see their own experiences in the characters. Tieflings are a made-up race. And let's be completely honest here. That is kind of like what happened in Final Fantasy 16, right? Like, everybody in Final Fantasy 16, for the most part, like 96% of the cast is white. I want to say 99 more rather, because there's only like one dude who looks Arabic. And 99% of that cast is white. And what they do is they try and make you feel sorry for the white people that are enslaving other white people who have magic powers. And for me, it just doesn't work that way. The reason why it doesn't work that way for me is because there's no visual difference. Like, white people enslaving white people is weird and fucked up, but it doesn't really drive anything home for a person of color, I feel like. Like, I don't see it because, you know, you're literally enslaving your own people for no reason, but other than the fact that they have magic powers without using a crystal. That's weird. That's stupid. It makes no sense. You're enslaving them for literally being like a step above, kind of, which is weird. But anyway, tieflings are treated badly. Tieflings are called hellions. They're called devils. They're called parasites. They're called snakes. And all sorts of other things in Baldur's Gate 3, at least by the druids. There's a lot of racism in Baldur's Gate in general against other races. Like, really, they're like more like species, but, you know, people talk about orcs, they talk about goblins, they talk about all sorts of people. They talk about drows, which are dark elves, and it's all over the place. And you know what? That's just, it is what it is. Like, that's just kind of like how the world works. So what they're saying, it makes sense. I get it. It's totally fine to feel compassion for a people who are experiencing a lot of bad times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll get into it. So this is what Narwit says, and you probably read it while I've been talking. Tieflings are a fictional fantasy race descended from evil demons and deities. Maybe let's not tie the hatred of them too closely to the real world black experience. I don't like this response because it seems like very dismissive and like it feels like they missed the point, right? And I've commented on it. Tieflings are a fictional race, but you could also feel compassion and sympathy for them. Otherwise, what the fuck is like most anime, right? Like in anime, there's like half demons, like Inuyasha. There are people that get bullied for being half of a race of whatever, and you know you can still feel bad for this thing. Like saying that you can't feel for a video game race is just, it's really weird. And they're not necessarily descended from evil demons, from what I understand. They are descendants. The way the lore works is evidently you're a tiefling. You could be born a tiefling at random. It really depends on if you had an ancestor in your history that made a deal with the devil at one point. Then you will be a tiefling. And I also heard on Baldur's Gate 3 that this changed. So like basically you can be a tiefling, have sex with a tiefling, and have another tiefling. That's why there's no half tiefling race, because it's supposed to be, that's how the lore is, and I guess they changed it around or whatever. Like, don't quote me on that, but that's how I understand it. So it's not that they're descended from evil devils and demons, it's that they have somebody in their history that has dealt with one in some way, shape, or form and made a deal. So I think that's incorrect, but don't quote me on that. The comparison aside, fantasy world should be full of dark elements. There should be races and creatures who are hated for valid and invalid reasons. Fiction is great because it allows for us to explore such topics in a safe environment. It also just builds more believable worlds. I won't totally knock what the original post was trying to say, even when trying to do good, her character is hated, and that does carry some parallels to the real world. So that invalidates, like, you know, this whole shit up here, because, you know, that's definitely the point, right? But anyway, I don't know this Narwitz person. They didn't respond to me either when I commented. But at the same time, tieflings are hated for very different reasons, so maybe don't dwell on it too much. I don't like this because it seems like a very, 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 and I hate to be this person to break out the W word. It seems like a very white thing to do. Like, it reeks of privilege. Like, yeah, you know, tieflings are hated for very different reasons, but like, I watched a video on the lore of tieflings, and tieflings are generally hated because people think that they're mischievous, that they steal, that they have devious things in mind. And if you are saying to me that it's very different from a black person who walks into a store or walks into an elevator and a white bitch clutches her pearls because she thinks that they're gonna assault them, or like when black people are going to a fucking barbecue or having a barbecue outside and white people are calling the police trying to get people to possibly fucking murder them and take them away. Like, you think that there's a difference between that and like being considered a fucking devil that might steal from you? Like, you're tripping. You actually have no real, like, you're not serious. And I said something similar, I think, here. I think I was really nice about it. Hold on a second. And this is what I said. I think a part of what you were saying could be useful because, to be honest, too many experiences differ from one another to make direct comparisons, and it's done too often, like Jewish people comparing their stripe to black people and Africans, which is true. That's a thing that happens between black people, Jewish people. It's a thing that happens between any people of color. This just what happens. And honestly, it's annoying. And there's too many things to compare, but you can still feel compassion for those people. There's nothing wrong with feeling compassion, even if the race is made up. Like, saying that you can't have feelings about something in a video game or an anime is stupid. Why do people like Berserk? Why do people think that the rage that the main character from Berserk, Guts, the rage that he has was justified? It's because his best friend, or somebody he considered a friend, I'm not that familiar with the franchise, sexually assaulted his girlfriend. Like, yeah, you feel that rage, and you feel like, yeah, kill this dude. Like, you get it. You can also feel like this is a bit much, this is a little ridiculous that, this is happening. So, yeah. And what did I say here? For a made-up race, or even a race that isn't made up, because you see similarities in treatment. Don't take away our experience because you don't like to think about it. I don't know if you are white, but the simple fact that you can narrow it down to some races need to be hated for X or Y reasons means you totally missed the point, which is true. They totally missed the point. Like, all right, so even if this race is hated because they had a history, that doesn't mean that it continues on. That doesn't make any sense. If I could be honest with you, there's some Palestinians that have bombed places in Israel. But the thing is, we don't take a look at the other side of the coin when Israel is shooting reporters for being Palestinian, and that's it. And they're putting it on their fucking Twitter saying, we got one. You know what I mean? Like, they're just shooting fucking people just because they're Palestinian, and there's no actual rhyme or reason for it. It's just racism. You know what I mean? And that happens. And honestly, Lies, even though I do feel like, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but even though I feel like this last post was a little bit like, I don't personally feel this way. Like, I have to have my guard up. Honestly, when I play Baldurs Gate 3, if you fuck with me, I'm going to try and persuade my way out of it, and then I'm going to kill you later. That's how I feel. But let me go ahead and pause this so we can go to what the Mighty Keith said. All right, this is a tweet from the Mighty Keith. The Mighty Keith, of course, is a very popular black YouTuber. And honestly, there's some stuff that the Mighty Keith has said in the past that I like didn't sit right with me. I don't remember them. I just remember that they didn't sit right with me. And I don't hate the Mighty Keith, and I'm not saying that he's a full-blown coon, but he does say some stuff here that I actually disagree with, because it's like super unserious and it's like super ununderstanding. Like, you got to remember, some of these people that you like and think are funny and you subscribe to on here, they're not exactly like the most socially intelligent people, right? So look at this. I'm going to be honest. I hate everything about this tweet. They were talking about he's talking about the previous tweet of the other person, right? So here we go. Like, this tweet makes me want to throw things. LOL. How are you complaining about compression in a video game based around a race of people you chose to play? It's part of the world building. I feel like these people have gone through absolutely zero hardship for something like this to really affect them. That's an assumption, of course. And I think that's a fucked up assumption. This person might be a fantastic individual. I don't know them at all. But goddamn, this tweet was so whack. I'm sorry. I think I just hate being reminded that people like this exist. So, hold on a second. There are people in a quote retweet saying it's an anti-black tweet. Bro, we were talking about devil people in a fantasy video game. Like, all right, so I hate dude bro responses like that. Like, there's a history of why, like, the history I just explained to you is the history of that's how I come to know about the Tieflings, right? Somebody in their history, in their ancestry, made a deal with the devil, and it affected them later on down the line, right? So, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about devil people, we're talking about video games and stuff that doesn't exist. Like, the fact that you call them, like, devils and stuff, like, this is the way I see it. Like, maybe devils and gods don't exist. Now, I'm agnostic. I can go either way. I think that's what that means. I don't know. Like, honestly, if I could find some more proof, I'd be more for believing in God. If there's evidence that God doesn't exist, that's fine too. But I feel like, let's say that neither one exists, right? What are you comparing this to? You're comparing this to something made up, right? Even if it's a devil, and which they're not actually devils in D&D, I guess, because tiefling is different from devil. Like, I learned that like a couple nights ago. Like, devils are actually demons from hell. Tieflings are just actually people. Like, they're not actually devil people, dude. Like, they just look like demons. But my response was, I think the fact that Baldur's Gate inspires compassion and also has relatable circumstances that can relate to people in real life is just great. Final Fantasy 16 failed at it in my opinion, and Baldur's Gate subverts it just enough to be like a dog whistle. How is this a bad thing? Hold on a second. It's bad when people call the game racist in the comments. The game has racism in it. Two different things. Where in the post does the person say that the game itself is racist to the point where it would ruin the dev's rep? This is not harmful, and I don't think this is an anti-black tweet, but it certainly is tone deaf. Like, have a conversation with the person. QRTing to your hug box. And that's what he does. Like, let's be honest. He actually is quote retweeting to a hug box. Like, 27K people are going to love him. And let's see what Mighty Keith has here, because we've seen it a little bit earlier. Hold on a second. I could have sworn there was a fucking picture earlier. There was a picture earlier that was like complaining, like doing that whole boomer thing. I guess I miss it. I don't know. But it is really disingenuous to do stuff like this. Mighty Keith is probably like 50 times more popular than the person that made the tweet, and like he's just bringing negative attention to it. And like, it's not anti-black. It's not anti-black. It's really just it's just tone deaf. Like, the person said that it was hold on a second. Lee So Excellent follows me. Yeah, no, I'm unfollowing Lee So Excellent. I gotta stop following these people who support hate. Like, they follow me, that's fine, but I can't support somebody who just sits here and they're just like, yeah, that's dumb. Like, okay, nigga, like, why do people not understand relatability? I just don't understand it. My dog is sleeping now. But my buddy says the coonery is strong in this reply, not gonna lie. It really is. Hold on a second. The victim mentality is strong in this reply. You're white, so you can actually just keep mind. You can just, I'm so ADHD, or maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know. You're white, so you can actually just keep minding your business. I'm just gonna co-sign this and say that makes no fucking sense. That makes no fucking sense, you idiot. Why don't people like you actually find more interesting things to say instead of repeating the same ass bargain bin lines on the internet? Yeah, that's all they do. The victim mentality. The main thing you see in communities like this is the victim mentality, the fragileness, the LGBTQ plus. Look at how many followers this dude has, and some of the people that I like follow this dude. Look, AFD signifier follows this dude, and it's like, all right, bro. Like, it's one thing to say that maybe that last tweet was a little bit much, but come on, bro. Like, stop acting like you're like this superior nigga that's been through everything, that actually recognizes all forms of racism. Some people don't even know what the fuck a microaggression is. And I'm not saying Mighty Keith doesn't know that. I'm just saying it's really weird to say that, somebody goes through nothing when, nigga, you're just a nigga out here on fucking Twitter with a motherfucking Dragon Ball Super profile fucking pic. The fucking thing back here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can say this nigga's been through nothing. He's just a nigga that likes Dragon Ball. I could say that he's just a fucking nerd that just likes Dragon Ball. But I'm not going to say that because I know that Mighty Keith he's an okay dude. I think he makes funny videos, but I just had to get my thoughts out on this, man. It's just ridiculous. Like, why would you even put that much negative attention on somebody off something you disagree with? Like, you could have had a conversation or commented under their thing, but niggas like this, just, I don't understand why they do that. Like, you do this expressly just to make fun of people instead of having a conversation about why they feel that way. But anyway, that's all. I'm talking in a circle. I'm done. I'll let you guys go. Take it easy.